Hello YouTube family, welcome back to Photon Rookie. This is video number 40. My name's Jim, and today we're going to take a look at a new supernova that was discovered on July 14th, located 40 million light years away in galaxy NGC 7331. The supernova has been named SN2025 RBS. This supernova is very close to the core, so it's difficult to image. What I'm going to do is show how you can image it using layering in Gimp and bring the supernova out to where it's visible, but you're still able to get more detail on the outside edges of the galaxy. Okay, here we are with Siril open, and we have the linear stacked image of galaxy NGC 7331 containing the current supernova. This image is comprised of about 2,500 10-second FITS files from the Seestar S50 taken in Alt-Az mode in a Bortle 4 sky. So let's go down here to the linear button and do an auto stretch so we can look at our data. Okay, there it is. It's a fairly small object. We're going to crop in on it. And you can see that even in this raw image, the supernova, which is located about here, is lost in the glare of the nucleus of the galaxy. So we're going to see if we can expose it and make it visible. So the first thing I want to do with this image is I want to go up to image processing, and I want to remove the green noise. Hit apply, close, and save our result. At this time, I'm also going to crop in on the image some. You can see I've got a whole lot of noise from field rotation, especially here in the bottom of the image, and I would like to just crop most of that out. So we'll do that now. So we come back up to image processing. We come down to geometry. We select rotate and crop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these red border lines in and get as much of that off the image as I can. And we can actually crop it in more later if we need to. I'd say that's good enough for now. Hit apply, close, and save. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the stars from the image. So I'll come up here to image processing, come down to star processing, select StarNet star removal, and it's normally automatically checked, but you want to make sure that this pre-stretched linear image box is checked since our image is not stretched yet. So you just want to hit execute, and Siril will remove the stars from the image. Okay, Siril's done its thing. Just go up here and hit save and save your result. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the onboard Graxpert to do a background extraction, and we'll do a little denoising on the object. So the way we do that is we come up to scripts, come down to Python scripts, go over select processing, and come down to Graxpert AI and click run script. You'll have a little box open up with the controls and options in it for Graxpert. And there's the box. We'll move it over here. You have a smoothing slider here that goes from 0 to 1. Default is 0.5. I normally leave it there. You can experiment with this to see how it affects your image. So basically, you want to make sure here under operation, you have background extraction selected, and you want to come down and click apply. Okay, that didn't take long. Process is complete. The next thing you want to do is you want to come here to operation. You want to do the drop down and select denoising. Again, you've got the strength bar 0 to 1. I just leave it at 0.5. Experiment if you'd like. Just hit apply, and it will do a noise reduction on the image. This takes a little longer than the extraction. Okay, noise reduction is complete. We can close this box, Make sure you come up here and save your result. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put this image back in linear view. And then we're going to go ahead and stretch it. You can actually see in this linear view, you can see the core of the galaxy and the supernova, that little dot to the side of it there. So we're going to come up here to image processing, bring the drop down. We're going to select stretches. We're going to come down and select generalized hyperbolic stretch transformations. We're going to make sure under type of stretch, the generalized hyperbolic transform is selected. We're going to come over here to color stretch. I like to use humid weighted luminance, and we're going to use this stretch bar to start stretching our image and bring our image into view. So you just grab a hold of this slider, move it to the right a little, hit apply, grab it again, move it to the right a little, hit apply. Now you see the nucleus, the core of the galaxy coming into view here with the little supernova dot next to it. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to preserve that in the core and still bring out the details going out from the nucleus of the galaxy to the edges. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use layering in Gimp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue stretching this image until we've got as much information on there as possible without losing the supernova in the glow of the galaxy core. So I'll continue doing that. We'll come up here and grab the slider, move it out, and hit apply. Some people are more aggressive with their stretching. I like to do it in baby steps. Hit apply. Now if you notice, we're getting this gray tone to the image. We can come up here to type of stretch, come down and select linear stretch black point shift, and we can move our spike containing our image information back to the left and do away with this dead zone right here so that we can get rid of this grayness in the image. It works great. You just want to make sure you don't clip any information that's in the galaxy. So you want to keep an eye on this clip percentage right here and make sure you keep that at 0. So you come up and you grab this slider, move it to the right, the spike will move to the left, and you'll see the gray go away in the image. I take it up until I just start clipping the image right there. See, I've got a small amount of clipping. I come up here to this fine tune on the minus button and just click it until that goes away and puts it back to 0. And then I hit apply. So if you look at this core now, you can see the core is starting to glow out more, but you can still see the supernova right there. It's more of a whitish dot compared to the yellowish core. We can try stretching it a little bit more. Let's go back up here to type of stretch, go back to generalized hyperbolic transform, come down, and let's see if we can stretch that core out a little bit more and still have the supernova visible. So you can still see it right there, but we're starting to lose it a little bit. You take it out further and you can see the supernova just disappears into the core. So let's bring it back to a point where we can still see it really well. Okay, I think right there looks good. Let's apply that. Let's go back to the black point, linear stretch black point shift again to see if we can remove some of the grayness we just picked up. I'll use the fine tuning this time, keeping a close eye on this clip percentage here to make sure it stays at 0. So we just now started clipping it. So I'll bring it back one tick, and there we are. Hit apply. Okay, I'm going to close this box for now and hit save. So what we're going to do is we're going to save this image as a layer and use it in Gimp to place our next image over top of it so that we can bring this image through that layer so that you can see the supernova there on the edge of the core. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to this down arrow and save it. Click Save. I'm going to save this as a TIFF file, and I'm going to put it on my desktop in a folder that I call TIFF2. It's just where I park my TIFF files when I'm working on them in Siril. So I'm going to save it. First, I'm going to rename it. Let's come up here. And I'm just going to simply call this layer 2, because this is the layer we're going to put under layer 1 when we do our editing in Gimp. So hit save and save again. Okay, now we can go back to image processing, open up stretches, come down to generalized hyperbolic strength transformations, and just like before, we want to have generalized hyperbolic transform selected, and we want to make sure we got human weighted luminance. Now I'm going to go ahead and stretch this on out to get more detail on the outer parts of the galaxy. So what I'm going to do in order to stretch some of this dim structure out a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and change the symmetry point. So what you want to do is you want to come out here and you want to draw a tiny box over the area that you want the symmetry point to be set, so that it puts more emphasis on pulling what's in that area out. So I put the box there. Then you're going to come over here to this little dropper, select it, and you saw your symmetry point here changed a little bit. So now we're going to continue stretching. Now we don't have to worry about losing the nova and the glare of the galaxy core now, because we've got that layer 2 that we're going to use in Gimp to bring it back. So let's go ahead and stretch it and get the outer edges of the galaxy looking good. So here we go. Again, we do this in baby steps. Let's see, maybe a little more. Okay, that's pretty good there. I'm going to go ahead and click in the image to get rid of the box. And I'm going to come down here to type of stretch, and I'm going to do the linear black point shift to again take some of the grayness out of our image. Since we're already close to the edge, our spike, I'm going to use this fine tune to move the slider to get rid of the grayness, again watching the clip percentage here. So it wouldn't let us do much. I only got one tick out of it. So we hit apply. Okay, and close. I'm going to go ahead and save this image. And I'm going to save it in my TIFF folder as layer 1. So let's go ahead and do that now. You want to change it to a TIFF file. And you want to come up here and rename it. And we'll call it layer 1. Okay, save. If you notice, so far I haven't done any color calibration or anything like that. The basic reason for this video is just to show how to expose the supernova in the bright core. If you want to see how to use color calibration and some of the other features that Siril offers, just take a look at one of my more recent tutorials on this channel, and it's all contained in that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and minimize Siril, and I'm going to open Gimp. So what I want to do is I want to go up here to File, and I'm going to go to Open as Layers, and I'm going to go to the desktop. Okay, we're on the desktop, so I want to come down and locate my TIFF2 folder. This is the folder we just put the 2 images in that we produced in Siril. So when you're doing layering like this, you want to make sure you load your second layer in first, and then do your top layer in second. So let's go ahead and click on that. This box will open up asking you to convert to an RGB working space. We don't want to do that here, so you just hit keep. Okay, there's layer 2. This is the one that has the supernova still visible in it. So now we're going to come up here to File again. We're going to come down to Open as Layers. And this time we're going to select layer 1. Again, you'll hit keep in this box. And if you look over here, you have both of your layers located over here. So what we want to do next is come over here to Layer, select that, and we want to come down and select Mask, and we want to come over and choose Add Layer Mask. Now with this box, it's automatically checked, but you want to make sure that Black Full Transparency has a dot in it. And you want to make sure Invert Mask has an X there. So let's go ahead and click Add. You'll see that a little white box opened up here next to layer 1. That's what you're looking for. Okay, one thing I like to do is I like to come up here to View, come down here to Zoom, and zoom way in on the image. So you can even see that without removing some of the brightness, you can still sort of see the supernova right there. Okay, now we're going to use an eraser to take a portion of this top layer off and reveal the layer under it where our supernova is more visible. So we want to take a light touch with this. So you select your eraser icon right here. You want to come down and click on this and make sure that this box is black. So you want to choose that and hit OK. And now you see the boxes are black there. And you want to make sure your eraser size is small, because you don't want to take too much of the top image off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to remove just enough top image around this part of the core to make that supernova more visible than it is now. So you just put your cursor over it and you hit the left click on your mouse, and as you click, each click will take a portion of the top layer off. So we'll do it right over the supernova first. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I don't think I really have to take anything more out of the core. What I can do is I can come up here just to show you what it did and hit this undo button. And as I click on it, you'll see the definition of the supernova there kind of go away. So I just keep clicking it and it undoes each click. And now it's kind of, you can still see it, but it's kind of folded back into the core. So I'm going to come back and maybe take a lighter touch this time and not take quite as much out. Okay, I don't really like that dark area that I introduced under it there, so I'm going to undo it again till we're back like it was. Then I'm going to come over, I'm going to come just above the supernova and see. Click a few times. Okay, you can see it fairly clearly there. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And once you're happy with it, you want to merge the top layer and the bottom layer together into one. And the way you do that is you come down to this little icon here. Looks like a little hamburger symbol with a down arrow. What this does is it'll seal the top layer with the bottom one and make it one image. So click on it one time and you see now you just see one image here. The second image is gone. So now we can go ahead and finish processing this What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to File, or I'm sorry, I'm going to come over here to Colors, and I'm going to come down to Saturation, see if we can affect the color a little bit on it. Yeah, when you bring the color saturation up, it brings the supernova out a little bit better there, because the supernova is a bright white color compared to the yellow glow of the nucleus, and it's coming out and looking nicely there. So that's good for saturation. Now we'll come back up to colors again, and we'll come down to shadows and highlights. Shadows can help us bring out more of the structure of the galaxy, but you have to use it sparingly because it'll also bring noise out in the image. So here, this box opened up. We have our shadow slider here. And as I go to the right, you can see a little bit more detail comes out on the galaxy, but I'm also increasing the noise quite a bit. And it's more prevalent in this image, the noise is, because remember, we cropped it pretty heavily in the beginning because this target was so small. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring shadows up a little bit. We can come down here to common white point adjustment and drop this or increase it and see if it helps our image any. I think maybe taking it down slightly helped. And hit OK. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to Filters, come down to Enhance, and come over here and come down to Sharpen. Now when I click this, it's going to add some sharpening to the image automatically, and you'll see it when I click it. I'm going to click it now. So I may have done it a little bit too much. If you take this Amount tab in this box all the way down, that's what you started with. And as you increase this slider, you add sharpening to the image. So we'll bring it up a little bit. I don't want to do it too much because I'm going to use a program called AstroSharp to sharpen it further, so I don't have to go too crazy with the sharpening here in Gimp. So we'll do that. I notice I picked up a little colored artifact right here. I can deal with that later if it's still there after it goes through AstroSharp. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little small pink artifact there. Not really sure what's causing that, but we'll deal with it. So I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to come over to Filters again, come down to Enhance again. This time come down to Noise Reduction. Now when I click on Noise Reduction, it's going to automatically apply some reduction to the image, and you'll see it when I click it. Here we go, clicking now. All right, it actually kind of blurred it out too much for my liking. So if you take this noise reduction slider in this box, bring it all the way down, that's what we started with. You take it up just a little bit. I think that helps a little bit. We'll go ahead and do it there. Okay, now let's go back to the normal image, the normal view of the image. Fit in window. So there's our image. You can see the supernova standing out against the background glare of the core of the galaxy. We've got some detail that is, it allowed us to bring more detail out by doing this layering. So that was the advantage of using the layering. So let's go ahead and save this image. You come up here to File, you come down to Export As, and I'm going to hit Export. When I does, it's going to ask me if I want to save it over the old version. And yes, I do want to replace it. Okay. And Export. Okay, so this image is saved so that we can go send it through AstroSharp. One very important note so that we don't have any confusion. When we joined layer 1 and layer 2 together and created just this one layer, one image, it named the image layer 2. So just remember, this is not layer 1. The image is now called layer 2. So we can go ahead and close Gimp now, discard the changes, and let's go ahead and open AstroSharp. So AstroSharp works pretty good with images with high signal to noise ratio. I have about 2,500 fit files from the Seestar invested in this image. AstroSharp should still do okay with that, but any images under 1,500 or 1,000 subs, AstroSharp doesn't do a very good job with. So you want to make sure you have as many subs as possible if you're going to use AstroSharp. So you want to click Full Image. You want to come over here to choose Model. I always use second beta. I've experimented with all these others, and second beta has always worked best for me, so I just use it. You want to come over here to the aggressive slider. I'm going to be very aggressive on the sharpening, and the PSF for DSO, I'm going to be very aggressive with that too. This doesn't really have much or any effect on it because you don't have any stars in the image. So now we're going to load the image into AstroSharp. So we're going to browse, and we're going to go to Desktop, and we're going to go to the TIFF2 folder that we've been working out of. And remember, our new image is layer 1 or layer 2. If you choose layer 1, then that's just the single layer before we processed it. So our new image is layer 2. So select that one. You'll see it load in this sample image, and then you want to hit Update Sliders, and AstroSharp will do its thing. It takes a little bit of time. Okay, AstroSharp is finished. Let's go ahead and download the image into our TIFF folder. So that we can have a look at it. And save. So we can go ahead and close AstroSharp now. Let's open our TIFF2 folder back up. And let's take a look at the image we just sharpened. Okay, there it is. Doesn't look too bad for such a small target. Yeah, we'll accept that. If you want to do a comparison, compare this to the unprocessed image, we can open them both up here and put them side by side and zoom in on them a little bit. So here is the image of NGC 7331 before it went through AstroSharp, and here's the image after it went through. I hope this translates pretty good to YouTube because I can see a pretty big positive difference. So let's go ahead and close these. Let's go back into our TIFF folder and do a little housekeeping. Get rid of layer 1, delete, and get rid of the old layer 2, delete. Now, when we sent layer 2 image through AstroSharp, it renamed it as processed. We're going to do the same thing with the stars in just a moment, the star mask. It will also try to save it as processed. So to keep it from trying to save it over this image, we need to rename it. So just right click and rename. And I just put a 1 in front of the word processed is all I do. Okay, so we're good there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and go back to Siril. And we are going to open the star mask, which are the stars we removed from the image. And there it is in a linear state. We need to go ahead and stretch it. So let's go ahead and do that. Come up to image processing, down to stretches, generalized hyperbolic stretch transformations. Now this box will open up. I always just use rescale. And under type of stretch, this time we want to choose modified arcsine transform. And under color stretch model, we want to use humid weighted luminance. Stretching stars is not a big deal. I usually just take the slider out to about 7.5 and leave it right there. About there. And hit apply. There's a lot of color in those stars. That's just the way it came out of the Seestar. I'll go ahead and leave it that way. That looks pretty good. So you hit apply, close, you save your result, you come over here and you hit the download button, you change this to a TIFF file, come back over to our desktop. Again, we locate our TIFF2 folder where our TIFF files are, and we hit save, and save again. Now we can minimize Siril, and we can open back up AstroSharp. Just a quick note about AstroSharp. It can be a little bit cantankerous to open when you first open it. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 tries. I've talked with other folks who use it, and they say the same thing happens to them. So don't worry if it doesn't load right away. All right, let's close that window and maximize Astro Sharp. Again, for stars, the stars look pretty good. I'm not going to be aggressive with that. Stars are easy to mess up, especially if you try to over sharpen them. PCF for DSO, I'll take down, and I'll keep this low. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't even run the star mask through Astro Sharp. But if you run the Starless image through, then you've got to run the star mask through it too, or you will not be able to put the 2 images back together in Siril. So that's why we go ahead and run it through Astro Sharp same way we did the Starless image. So next thing we do is we're going to go over here and choose the second beta. You want to select full image. We're going to go to Browse, and here's our star mask. We're going to choose that. It loads right here in the sample, and then we hit Update Sliders and let Astro Sharp sharpen the image. And there we go. There's the result. Let's go ahead and download it into our TIFF2 folder. Now we can close Astro Sharp. We're done with it. And let's go ahead and open Gimp back up. All right, here we are. So I want to go up here to File, Open, Desktop. Choose our TIFF2 folder right here. And let's go ahead and do the one processed image, which is the galaxy that we ran through Astro Sharp. All right, there it is. Let's go ahead and zoom in on it a bit with View, Zoom, Fill Window. Okay, so there's our galaxy. Doesn't look too bad. You can prominently see the supernova right there on the edge of the core. That came out good, so I'm pretty happy with this result. So what we may go ahead and do, let's go ahead and go back to colors, come down to saturation. We're just playing with it one more time before we send it back in Siril to put the stars back in. So I don't think more saturation helps us. I'm going to leave it where it is. Click Cancel. Let's go back to colors and come down to shadows and highlights. And let's see if we bring shadows up anymore. Yeah, that just brings the noise level up. It's revealing more of the galaxy, but it's also bringing the noise level way up. So might just leave it right there. That's good. Come down here and check the white point out a little bit. It doesn't look too bad. Hit OK. And let's see if we can sharpen it any more at all. Let's come over to Filters, Enhance, come down to Sharpen, and it applied some sharpening there, which is really a little too much in my opinion. So we'll drop it back a little bit. This is so subjective. One person's beautiful image can be another person's garbage image. It's just, it's all personal preference, and you just go in there and fix it how you like it, because ultimately you're the one you have to please. I think that looks pretty good as far as sharpening. Tell you what, I'm going to come back over to colors, and I'm going to come down here to brightness, contrast, and let's work with contrast just a little bit on this slider. Yeah, contrast, you don't want to lose any detail you gained on your galaxy, but maybe contrast can calm that sky, the black sky around it, down a little bit. Okay, that doesn't look bad. I'll accept that. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the normal view. Fit image in window. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and send this back to Siril now. The way I do that is I come up here and hit File. I come down to Export As. I come down here to select File Type, and I'm going to change this back to the file type back to Flexible Image Transport System, which is what FITS stands for. So just click on that, and I'm going to come up here and click on D because that's where my Siril work folder is. It's in my D drive. And I scroll down till I find my work folder, which is right here, and then I hit Export. Okay, so now this image is back in Siril. So I can close it. I like to close Siril and AstroSharp between images. You probably don't have to, but I just think it's cleaner that way. So let me open Gimp back up. All right, let's come up here to File, Open, Desktop. Come down to our TIFF folder. And we're going to open up Processed, which is our star mask after it went through. All right, so there it is. I'm not really going to do anything to this. I might actually take the saturation down a little bit. Let me go to Colors, Saturation, and drop this bar. If you drop it all the way down, the stars will go white. Put it back where it was, and you got a lot of yellow color in there. What I might do is just calm that down a little bit. Leave some of the yellows and some of the other stuff there. All right, that looks good. Hit OK. All right, now I'm going to send this to Siril. I come up to File. I click Export As. Come down here to select File Type. Again, choose Flexible Image Transport System. Go to the D drive where my Siril work folder is. And click on my Siril work folder and hit Export. And there we go. So both the Starless and the star mask are back in Siril now so that we can put them back together. So here we go. So let's go ahead and come up here to Image Processing. We're going to go to Star Processing, and we're going to go to Star Recomposition. It's asking you if you want to close the current image. Yes, you do. So this box will open up. The left side is for the galaxy. The right side is for the stars. So let's come up here to this little folder icon. Click on it. And we want to choose one processed, which is our galaxy. And there it is right there. Now we'll load the stars in. Come over to this side. Again, go up to the little folder icon. Click on it. And we want to take processed and load it in, which are our stars. There they are. All right, so that looks pretty good. Since the galaxy is such a small target, I'm thinking I would like to calm the stars down a little bit. So you come to this side, you use this black point slider. You can actually take it all the way down to where the stars are gone. You can put just a few stars in there. You can do a medium amount, or you can really start loading it up. I would like to calm them down a little bit. Maybe to about there. That looks pretty good, pretty natural. You want to hit Apply. Now you can also make changes to the galaxy independent of the stars. In other words, you can make changes to the galaxy using this side, these sliders, and it won't affect your stars in the background. Like, you can do more stretching if you want to. And you can see that sort of has a negative effect. Maybe that tiny bit helped. I kind of like the way that looks. So you want to hit Apply on both sides and close. And next, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and save this image. I save my images as a PNG file because it retains more information. You can save it in JPEG if you want to. That's perfectly fine. I just like PNG because there's a lot more information in there and it's a little bit better image overall. The downside is if you start saving your images in PNG format, it's going to eat more of your hard drive space up. So I just changed it to a PNG. I'm going to go ahead and save it in the TIFF folder that we've been working out of, just so we can find it quick and have a look at it. So come down here to TIFF 2, and I'm going to rename it. We'll call it NGC 7331 Nova, and then I'll put tutorial in it, since we created this image in a tutorial together. And I'll go ahead and save it. All right, now we're done with Siril, so you can go ahead and close Siril. Go back to the TIFF folder. Let's go ahead and open up our finished image, which is right here. Okay, I'll go ahead and maximize this. Let's go ahead and rotate it. I think that looks pretty good right there. So might even crop in on it a tiny bit more. Now what I'm using right now is just my own board image editor. All computers have them. You'll have something like this. It may be the same one, it may be similar, but they all have pretty much the same exact controls and sliders on them. So I might crop this just a little bit more because I've got a lot of noise here. So we'll bring this down a little bit and bring this over a little bit. This is a heavily cropped image because in the original image from the Seestar, this galaxy is tiny. So we're kind of pushing the Seestar to its limits here. All right, so next thing we want to do is we want to go to adjustment. So you can clearly see the supernova there on the edge of the core. And we were able to show that and get some detail in on the galaxy. So let's play with it a little bit. Let's see if we can do any sharpen this here. Yeah, maybe just a tiny bit. Saturation. It's a little too much. I kind of like the saturation where it was. Remember, now that we've got the stars back in the image, anything you do as far as changing the image will affect the galaxy and the stars. So I'm going to leave that where it is. Vignette can sometimes help with this corner noise that you're seeing here. So I can take Vignette up a little bit. You can see it darkens. Yeah, especially watch this corner right here when I take Vignette up. See, it darkens it right down. So we're going to use Vignette. Shadows is the same as before. You can move it and maybe bring more detail out, but you're also going to reveal a lot more noise. So I'm thinking we just leave it where it is. Highlights, we can, try it. You can really blow the core out right there with the highlights, or you can take it back down. Actually, I think taking it down a little bit actually helped. It made the nova even more prominent. Yep. Contrast might help us with the sky a little bit, but you got to be careful not to lose detail on the galaxy. And I think it makes the sky look better, the black space, but I'm sort of giving a lot of way on that galaxy by adding contrast. So I'm thinking probably that I don't even want to use it. I think I'll just leave it there. All right, I'm going to call that finished. So we've got our little galaxy NGC 7331 with the supernova clearly visible in the core there. And you were able to bring out some more detail on the galaxy. This was kind of a quick and dirty. There's lots of other tools we can use in Siril and even Gimp to improve this image, but I just wanted to show you just one way of many of how to expose the supernova in the core. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Thanks very much to my subscribers and viewers. It's a lot of fun. I really love reading all your comments and suggestions. And this is Jim at Photon Rookie signing off until the next video. We'll see you then.